Well, hey, this is David Fine, the CEO of ValuSource, and I'd like to welcome you all to the 1-hour coaching session for those of you that picked up one of Kevin's packages. And I'm going to turn it over to Kevin and let him get started on helping you figure out all of this lead generation stuff and relationship building.
Hey, folks, and hey, David. Thank you for the introduction, David. Hey, folks, thank you so much for taking a little bit of time out of your busy day to kind of tune into this bonus session. It was wonderful having the opportunity a couple weeks ago to share with you some information about LinkedIn and some information about my high-tech, high-touch relationship marketing system. And my wife and children and I thank you for investing in some of my products. So the reason that you're on this bonus session is because you did invest in either my 4-hour training or my 17-hour training. And I just want you to know that I don't take that lightly. I mean, I sincerely appreciate you investing some of your money in these programs that are going to help you and significantly help you grow your businesses in whatever way you're trying to grow them. So let me just reiterate something I said in the previous call, that I'm in the business of building relationships for life. And if I say anything in today's session or in any future conversations that we ever have together, if I say anything that sounds like I'm trying to be a motivational speaker, I'm not. I'm really not. I'm just a very, very passionate person. I'm very, very alive. I'm very, very awake. And I just love to add value to people. So I don't take it lightly that you traded some of your hard-earned money for some of the products that I've created over time. I just want you to know that I'm here to serve you for as long as God has me on the planet. So if I'm here for another day or if I'm here for many, many, many years, which hopefully that's the case, just know that I'm as close as the phone or email, and I give you my word as a gentleman that if I can help you in some way, I'd love to help you. There's nothing that pleases me more than watching people achieve what it is they want to achieve in their personal life, their professional life, and I've been so blessed that I get to help people do that on a daily basis. So here's the agenda for today's session. We have about an hour together, and I know that David and the folks at ValuSource are recording this, so I think you're going to have the ability to go back and re-listen to it. If you've invested in my 4-hour program, well, then you've got 4 hours of content on LinkedIn and Twitter. If you invested in my 17-hour program, what I'm going to cover today is some of the information that's in that 17-hour program, but it'll be live. So it's me explaining this. This is not a recording. I'm really standing here in my home office in Monument, Colorado right this second. But I think if I take you by the hand, and then if we either open up the phone lines or just allow you to type in the chat box on the side of the page any questions, this can be more interactive so I can kind of take you by the hand. Obviously, I could talk for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours on this stuff. As I was thinking about what I was going to share with you today, I thought, why don't I share with you something that I think will have a big impact in your business. And again, it's just one thing out of many, many things we could talk about, but I think it's something that you would probably get a kick out of learning about here. So what I want to talk about today is the whole concept of engagement. And I'm going to use LinkedIn status updates and a couple of other tools as an example to show you what I mean by that. So as I go through what I'm about to cover for the next 57 minutes or so, please feel free to type questions into the chat box if you have questions, and I'll try and keep an eye on that while I'm continuing to talk. But I want to do a deep dive into what I mean by engagement, because engagement is really where the rubber meets the road. I mean, it's great to be on LinkedIn and Facebook and Twitter and to post information and all this other stuff, but at the end of the day, if it doesn't lead to business, if it doesn't lead to clients, if it doesn't lead to referrals, then why are we doing it? So for me, it's all about engagement. And engagement is nothing more than a $5 word for conversation, in my opinion. Now, you're just getting my opinion today, and I'm kind of weird, so you're getting my weird opinion. But engagement is a fancy word for interaction or conversation. When you boil down a lot of what I teach, it really at its core rests on a couple of fundamental principles. One fundamental principle, and maybe we'll get into this in this session today a little bit, is taking a deep, sincere interest in other people. Now, again, this isn't a kumbaya group hug moment, and when I use the word deep, sincere interest, the most important word there is sincere. So this isn't about insincerity or manipulation or slick salesy stuff or anything like that. It's all about taking a deep, sincere interest in people. Well, one of the other principles that's at the core of everything I teach is the concept of engagement. It's the concept of conversation. Really, it's the art and science of creating engagement in conversations. I'm a big believer that any success that you have in your life, and this might sound a little extreme, but I would bet you money that I'm right about this. Any success that you have in your life ultimately came from some form of a conversation. Now, that might sound a little weird, but if you really dig into what I'm saying, it's true. There's nothing that you would consider a success in your life in any way, either physical, financial, spiritual, relational, whatever. There's nothing that at some point didn't involve a conversation. So I have this weird habit. My wife tells me I have a sometimes annoying habit of reducing things to the absurd. And when your wife tells you that you have a sometimes annoying habit, that is usually code for always annoying habit. So for me, I tend to break things down to their fundamental principles, to their simplest parts, because I figure I don't consider myself all that bright. I don't consider myself stupid, but I'm no Einstein. I keep things very, very simple. And I've learned over the years that when I can keep things simple and I can focus on the fundamental principles behind different things, life just tends to work better. So let's talk about engagement and LinkedIn status updates. I want to show you something that I do every morning when I get on LinkedIn. And in a previous session when you heard me, I alluded to the fact that everything that I teach is really executable, if that's a word, or you can execute these things in 15 to 30 minutes a day. That's it. No more than that. I'm not trying to add an extra hour, 2 hours onto your already insane schedule. I'm just saying by understanding simple routines that are highly duplicatable and you do them every single day, small efforts over time produce massive results. So there's a couple of different things I do every morning when I get on LinkedIn. The first thing I do every morning is I accept my LinkedIn invitations. So here I've got some invitations sitting in my inbox waiting for me to accept. And I think in the previous session, I kind of very quickly explained how I accept LinkedIn invitations. We could do a deeper dive into that if we wanted to. You obviously have access to my programs, so you have some more deep dives into that. So if that's something you want me to cover in more detail before the end of today's call, just let me know. So after I accept my LinkedIn invitations, I want to show you what I do next. What I do is I post a status update. Now, a status update is something that just goes into the news feed in your LinkedIn account. So at the top of your LinkedIn homepage here, there's 3 buttons. There's share an update, upload a photo, and publish a post. The wording on these can be a little bit confusing because post sounds very similar to update, but these are different things, and I'll explain them. So an update is nothing more than anything I type in here, blah, 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 blah. If I were to hit share, that would go into the news feeds of every one of my first-degree LinkedIn connections. That doesn't mean they'd all see it, but it means the people that are on LinkedIn at this exact moment would probably see it in their news feed, or people who maybe aren't connected to a lot of people might see it in their news feed, because the more people you're connected to on LinkedIn, the faster the news feed, just kind of runs through. I've got 21,000 connections on LinkedIn. So this is a never-ending stream. Just like on Facebook, I've got 6,000 friends or whatever on here. So there's a never-ending stream in the news feed that's coming through. So when you post something as a status update on LinkedIn, it's going into your first-degree connections news feeds. Now, why is that important? Well, because it's keeping you top of mind with those people. So when I post something here, a number of people are going to see it, and they're going to think about me. Now, again, I'm a simple thinker. Out of sight, out of mind. If people aren't thinking about you on a regular basis, well, then they're not thinking about you on a regular basis. We want people thinking about you and your business on a regular basis so that if and when they're ready to do business or refer business, you're immediately top of mind. If they can't remember who was that guy, well, that's a lost opportunity. So in a more and more busy, interconnected world with lots of noise and information overload and 24-hour news cycles and LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, and Google and all this stuff, there's a lot of noise. One of the questions becomes, how do you break through the noise? How do you stay top of mind with your ideal prospects, clients, networking partners, and strategic alliances in a way that's not slick or salesy? Well, I got a very simple answer to that. You add value. That's what you do. You add massive value over time. So what I want you to think about is I want you to embrace what I call my 80-20 rule, the 80-20 rule. Anything that you post online, I don't care if it's LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, anywhere, anything that you're going to post on a social media platform, I'm going to suggest that 80% of the time you post something that is not about you or your business or your product or service. I want you to think almost like television. When you turn on the Broncos game, and you should all be watching the Broncos. I don't care where you live, you should be watching the Broncos. When you turn on the Broncos, you know that you're going to watch a football game. But you know at some point there's going to be a commercial for beer, right? There's going to be a Coors Light commercial, or there's going to be a Budweiser commercial. But you didn't turn on the Budweiser channel. You turned on the Broncos. But you know, sooner or later, they're going to try and sell you some kind of beer or some kind of whatever, right? These are called television commercials. But you wouldn't turn on the commercial channel because it's highly unlikely that you would sit there and want somebody to try and sell you something all day long. Well, if you think about what I'm saying, most individuals and organizations, because they don't have a firm grasp of how to use these tools effectively, they're really turning their LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, whatever accounts into 24-hour commercials. And that's a big turnoff. You know, if somebody's just trying to sell you something every time they open their mouth, at a certain point, you just avoid that person. Well, the same thing happens with social media. So if you will adopt my 80-20 rule, 80% of the time, you're not going to post something about yourself, your product, your service, or your business. You're going to post something that's either informational or inspirational and educational. And I'm going to give you a number of examples of this over the next couple of minutes. So I want you to think more in terms of educational or inspirational. And then 20% of the time, feel free to talk about your product, your service, or yourself or your business, because you've earned the right at that point to talk about your product. See, people will listen to you much more closely if most of the time you're posting something that's either educational or inspirational, and then every once in a while you mention, oh, by the way, here's a little bit about my company and what I do and blah, blah, blah. They're more than likely not to turn the channel on that. But if all you do is talk about yourself all the time, a person who's all wrapped up in themselves is overdressed. And most people in business are overdressed. That's why they're repelling their best prospects, clients, networking partners, and strategic alliances without even knowing it. So let me give you an example of what I would do here. If you take my 80-20 rule, and there's 5 days in a work week, Monday through Friday, well, then one of those days, there's nothing wrong with posting something about your product or your service. But the other 4 days, I would suggest you don't. So I want you to develop the habit. I would encourage you to develop the habit of every morning posting a status update on LinkedIn, posting something into the newsfeed, because it will keep you top of mind with all of your connections and potentially, as I'm about to show you, with many, many more people than that. So here we are. I'm looking at my newsfeed. I could very easily post some kind of a motivational something. Now, when I say educational or inspirational, don't think for a second that I'm trying to turn you into a motivational speaker. I am not. But I will make a bet with you. Let's say you're a mergers and acquisition person, or let's say that you're a financial advisor, or let's say that you're a business broker. I don't care what you do for a living. Whatever you do for a living, I'm sure you're quite good at it. If you were to post 4 days a week something related to your industry, it could be a link to an article that you got out of some newsletter or off the internet. I'm sure you have no lack of content that you could probably post into a newsfeed. If not, just go to Google Alerts. If you're not familiar with Google Alerts, go to Google Alerts, set up a Google Alert on as many keywords as you want, and Google will literally send you either daily or weekly, depending on how you want it. They'll send you enough information for the next 20 lifetimes. But if you were to post something that was about your industry, there's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a good idea. But I wouldn't encourage you to do that 4 days a week. I would encourage you to do that maybe 1 or 2 days a week, and then the other 2 days a week something inspirational, and then 1 day a week something about your product or service. And again, I'm going to give you examples of this in a few moments. If you were to make a bet with me, because I have a lot of business people who say to me, Kevin, I want to post a lot of information related to my industry that shows that I'm an expert at what I do. And conceptually, I understand why they're thinking that. It makes perfect sense. But I often say to these people, I'll make a wager with you. I'll bet you $1. If you were to post something 5 days a week, once a day, 5 days a week, related to your industry with your intention to position yourself as an industry expert, and then at the end of that week, you were to count all the people that click the like button or the comment button or the share button on those things that you posted. And then for the next month, if you did that for 30 days, and then for the next 30 days, you never posted anything about your industry which would position you as an expert, but every morning you posted some form of a motivational quote or an inspirational thought for the day. If you were to do that for 30 days and count all the people that click the like, the comment, and the share, I will bet you $1 that you will have far, far more likes, comments, and shares on the inspirational content than you will on the educational content regarding your industry. Now, that can sometimes be frustrating to certain personality styles, because certain personality styles are like, hey, why the heck am I posting inspirational stuff? I'm not a motivational speaker. But there's a very simple concept behind this. Now, because I speak on stages all around the world on a weekly basis, I'm not necessarily in show business, but this is kind of an old show business adage: play to the audience. If you know the audience wants a certain type of material, well, give it to them. So if you know that most people in work, in life, are highly stressed, they're super crazy busy, they got enough crap going on in their life, they're just, most people could use a little break. It's my experience over the years that when you post something inspirational on LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, whatever, you're going to get a lot of people that click the like button. Now, I'm going to show you in a couple of moments what you're going to do with those likes. I'm setting the table so that you understand fundamentally where I'm going with this. When you post information that makes people feel good or gives them a little motivational jolt, you're going to find a lot of people like that stuff. You could post the most profound article about your industry or whatever, and you might be shocked that you would think, oh, everybody's going to love this. And you'll have maybe a very small number of people that click the like, the comment, and the share. It's just the way the world works. People are looking more for more of the positive than the other stuff, generally. So what I do every morning is I typically post some form of an inspirational or motivational picture or quote. You're probably not an author like I am. You're probably not a public speaker or a public figure or a professional speaker like I am. So I am in no way suggesting that you have to become Charles Dickens or Stephen King. So watch what I would do if I were you. I would go out to Google. If I go to Google and I type in motivational quote, and once that comes up, then what I click on is I click on the word images. Now understand, we're on the internet right now, so if I see anything sexual, off-color, derogatory, I have no control over what shows up here on my screen. We're all big boys and big girls, okay? So here, I'm going to have enough motivational quotes for the next 20 lifetimes. So let's just click on one of these. If plan A didn't work, the alphabet has 25 more letters, stay cool. If I were to take this and right-click and hit Save Image As, and I'm just going to call this Plan A. And if I were to save that to my desktop, now I just saved it to my computer. If I were to go back to LinkedIn, and here I am on my homepage, I'm going to refresh my homepage. An update is not a picture. An update is either a text or a link to an article. A photo is a photo. So what we just did there was a photo. So if I click upload a photo, I go to my desktop, I find the Plan A picture, and I hit open. It's going to put that there. It's going to take a second. Okay, it's all ready. And today is Wednesday. So if I wrote in here, happy Wednesday, make it a great one. If I were to take this and share this right now, it would look exactly like this that was posted by Dr. Deepti Chaturvedi. This guy here, if that's a guy, I think Deepti is a guy, if this person literally a few seconds ago did exactly what I just said to you. He posted a picture. He didn't add any words. He didn't add the happy Wednesday, make it a great one. He just posted a picture, and there's nothing wrong with that. The only thing I did different was I just added the words. Now, I'm not really going to post this. I'm just showing you how it's done. But he put this into his news feed a couple moments ago. I will bet you money that over the next 24 hours, there will be people that he's connected to that will click the like, the comment, and the share button on this picture, okay? So I think you're getting what I'm saying. All I'm saying is we're now putting something into the news feed so people will see your name again, top of mind awareness strategy, and it's something that's encouraging and motivational that they're certainly not going to be offended by it, that you're trying to make their day a little bit brighter. So this is all I'm saying, is this is how you post a status update. I do this every morning. Again, you don't have to come up with the content. Just type in motivational quotes and you'll have enough for the next 92 lifetimes. You've got plenty of content. You're not violating any copyright laws. All you're doing is you're literally copying and pasting. I'm not pretending that I came up with the Johnny Depp quote. There's the attribution, Johnny Depp. I'm not pretending that I came up with the Bill Gates quote. There's Bill Gates. So you get the simple concept behind what I'm doing, okay? Now, once I do that, what I would then encourage you to do is to monitor your engagement. And that's what I started this conversation with today. Engagement is a $5 word for conversation. So I post something in the morning, and then the next morning, when I log into LinkedIn to make my next post the next morning, I go over here to the top of my LinkedIn account, and I put my cursor over this notifications button. The notifications button is going to show me who is engaging with my content, content being what I posted. Now remember, the word engagement, as I'm using it right now, I'm using the word engagement to mean they've clicked the like button, the comment button, or the share button. These three buttons are going to put millions of dollars into your business over time. So all I want to know is who hit the like button on what I posted, who hit the comment button on what I posted, who hit the share button on what I posted, because those are what I would consider engagement opportunities, and I'll show you. So when I put my cursor over here, I can see. Now, I'm not quite sure how LinkedIn does it with these algorithms. Why it's showing me that Edward posted something 2 minutes ago, I'm not quite sure. I really don't care. What I care about is who's engaging with my content. I can see here that 5 minutes ago, I can't put my cursor over because the 5 minutes goes away. So watch right below my cursor. Do you see the 5M there? 5 minutes ago, that guy, Larry Clark, commented on some picture that I posted. I can see here, 6 minutes ago, Larry Clark commented on some other picture along with a number of other people. I can see here 16 minutes ago, this guy, who I'm guessing is on this call because he's a business appraiser, he went and looked at my LinkedIn profile. So as I go back in time, all I'm doing, notice it says 1 hour, 1 hour, 2 hours, 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours. All I'm doing is I'm going back 24 hours, assuming that I have not looked at LinkedIn in the last 24 hours since I last posted something yesterday. So here, I can see, if I get back to, let's say, 23 hours, I'm looking for anybody who's engaging with my content. This has nothing to do with me, 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 nothing to do with me. This one has to do with me. John Doolin commented on my update with the words, well said. I'm going to show you in a moment what I do with that. Kim Zinn liked something that actually mentioned me. So somebody else was even mentioning me without my knowledge. I'll show you in a moment what I do with that. Let's keep going. I can see 6 people clicked the like button on something I posted. I'll show you in a moment what I do with that. 17 people clicked the like button on something I posted. I'll show you in a moment what I do with that. This woman connected with me on LinkedIn. This person mentioned me in a comment. So can you see how this notification tab is showing me people interacting, or the word that I keep using is engaging with my content? Well, that's all I want. All I want to know is who's hitting the like, comment, or share button on my content. So let's go back again. Let's go back to like 13 hours ago or 23 hours ago. And let's do this again in real time. Not me. John Doolin commented on my update, and he said, well said, Kev. I'm going to click on that, and it's going to open the thing. So here's something that I posted yesterday, okay? So I posted this 1 day ago. You can see it right there. I wrote, a business owner recently told me that my long-standing routine of building an hour or so of complimentary pro bono coaching into my schedule on every day that I'm not running to an airplane is foolish, and that I should be charging for every minute of my time. I have to admit that I find it deliciously ironic that he's broke, struggling to find business, and never gets referrals. Love them all, just love a lot of them from a distance. Now, let me put a little clarity on this. You might be sitting there saying, Kevin, you really posted that as a status update? Yeah, I did, but I'm not saying that you have to post something like that. Remember, I'm kind of a public figure. People see me on TV, they hear me on the radio, they read books that I've written. So, what I do might be a little different than what you do. Again, as you'll hear me say it over and over, take away the principle behind what I'm saying. Some of this is going to be dictated by your comfort level, right? So you might not be comfortable posting something like that. Well, then don't. The fact that you're uncomfortable doing it is probably a good indication that you shouldn't do it, right? But for me, I'm very comfortable doing that. Some of the feedback I get from people all the time is, Kevin, you're one of the most vulnerable and authentic people I've ever met. Now, I'm just telling you what people tell me. I don't say that to be cocky or arrogant, but people tell me that all the time. I take it as a compliment. I'm just very comfortable in my own skin, and I don't mind leading with my heart. But that's just me. That might not be you. But that's just me. So I posted this yesterday. Notice 11 people clicked the like button, 4 people commented. Now, again, I'm going to say something extremely simple, but don't think for a second that this is, stupid. Simple is profound. In the real world, when someone gives you a compliment, what do? You thank them. That's what polite people do. Rude people don't thank them. Well, if you take that line of thinking, most people on the internet are far more rude than they are in real life. Sometimes intentionally, most of the time unintentionally. Well, if I'm walking down the street and you say to me, hey, that's a nice tie you're wearing, I'm probably going to say thank you. I wouldn't just scoff at you and just keep walking, because that would be rude. I wouldn't do that. You probably wouldn't do that either. So when somebody gives me a compliment, whether it's online or offline, I thank them, because I think that's the right thing to do. So when this person, John Doolin, wrote 14 hours ago or 22 hours ago, well said, Kev, I knew it because it showed up in my notification folder, just like I'm showing you right this second. Well, I didn't just go, oh, yeah, well, I got a big ego boost because he thinks that that's it. No, I thank him. And you can see that's exactly what I did 14 hours ago. I wrote thanks, and as soon as I started writing his name in, LinkedIn's algorithms immediately found him and tagged him, and so that when I posted this, it showed up in his notification folder that Kevin Knebl commented on your post, John. So let's think about what's really happening here, and I hope I'm not confusing you with this. When I publicly thank him for his compliment, number one, it makes him feel good because it's a compliment. He sees it. He's notified of it. Number two, everybody that I'm connected to on LinkedIn sees it in their news feed, because in the news feeds of all 21,000 of my connections, it's going to say, Kevin Knebl just commented on John Doolin's post. Well, it's John Doolin's post on my post, right, if you get that. But can you see how I'm getting my name into the news feed again? But also, not only that, as they say in the infomercials, but wait, there's more. My name shows up in every one of his connections' news feeds, because it's going to say with all of his connections, Kevin Knebl just commented on John Doolin's post. And they may or may not click on that and see who's this Kevin Knebl guy. So can you see how, by posting something in a news feed and then publicly thanking people that are complimenting you, you're actually killing multiple birds with one stone? You're getting your name into all those news feeds again, but not in a way that you're self-promoting. You're not saying, buy my product, buy my product, buy my product. You're and what most intelligent people will look at this and go, hey, that guy's a class act. That guy's, so there's multiple benefits to you. See, I don't consider myself a leadership speaker or anything like that, although a lot of people tell me that what I talk about often kind of, blends into the whole concept of leadership. But I learned early in my life that you chastise or correct people in private, but you publicly acknowledge and appreciate people in public. So that's all I'm doing here. I'm just publicly acknowledging somebody's compliment to me. And that's benefiting me, and it's benefiting them. So here I can see that 12 hours ago, Isaac Ring wrote, proof that giving creates the space for abundance to show up in our lives. Thanks for the great reminder, Kevin Knebl. I knew he wrote that because he put my name there. It showed up in my notifications, and then I publicly thanked him. Thanks for your kind words. It showed up in his news feed. So hopefully you're understanding what I'm saying here. Okay? So when I look here at my notifications, I want to see who's engaging with my content. Now let's go here. This was 11 minutes ago. So we've been on this call for 32 minutes. Obviously 11 minutes ago, I have no idea what this guy wrote on my picture. Let's find out together. So if I click on this, it pulls up something that I posted this morning. Woulda, coulda, shoulda, shut up. It's a little bit snarky, but I'm originally from Jersey and I can get away with this kind of thing. So here I can see that 6 people have hit the like button and 6 people have commented. So here, Kim Zinn, 3 hours ago, wrote, love this, made me laugh. Is it okay if I use this in my trainings, Kevin Knebl? My comment to her was, of course, Kim Zinn. The only reason we have anything is to share it. Otherwise, it has us. That's kind of one of my lines, okay? So I have no problem with her sharing it because it's got my logo, and I'm going to explain that in more detail in a few moments. But I can see that she commented, and I publicly thanked her. Helen Klein. I knew a man who was born in Tsarist Russia. He was a good friend of my father's and had the most positive attitude. The ladies loved him. He was famous for saying, don't be a member of the woulda, coulda, shoulda club. So she said, so I publicly thank her. Now, these 2 people are new, so I haven't had time to thank them yet. So here, haha, I have a friend who always says woulda, shoulda, coulda. May I steal this? So can you see how people are publicly asking me if they can share my content with their network? Are you hearing what I'm saying, folks? They're exposing me to hundreds, if not thousands, of other people, which is internet gold. That's the Jersey boy coming out of you. So I won't do it right now because it'll take time, but you know that I'm going to publicly thank them. Thank you, Farhana. Thank you, Larry, blah, 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 blah. So that's the first thing I want you to get here, that people are engaging with my content, but I want to go a little deeper. Can you see here where 6 people have hit the like button? Well, I want to know who those people are. So if I click on that, it's going to show me who these people are. Now, don't be fooled. Even though you see first degree, first degree, first degree, don't think for a second that I know all these people really well. I mean, I speak all around the world every week. I get hundreds of LinkedIn invitations a week. I'm connected to 21,000 first-degree people. I don't know all these people, so don't think for a second just because it says this guy's a first-degree connection that I know this guy. I don't. You might be asking, Kevin, how did a second-degree person like your picture if it wouldn't show up in their news feed because it's a second-degree person? Well, the answer to the question is right over here. Somebody shared my picture on their news feed, and this person, who must be a first connection of theirs, clicked the like button, which shows up in my news feed because it's ultimately my picture. It will always show me who's clicking the like button on the picture. So I've got some guy who's not even a first-degree connection of mine who's liking my content. So what I do every day is I look to see who's clicking the like, comment, and share button by looking at my notification feed. And then I just ask myself, which of these people fits my ideal prospect or client profile? Now, I want you to really think about what I'm saying here because it's really pretty cool. What most people have been taught in the world of marketing, and I don't claim to be a marketing expert, and that's not false humility. I'm a sales guy. My background is sales. I was a piano player in New York City. Here's my background. I'm a piano player who got into sales. That's it. You're totally caught up to speed. I'm a guy who played piano for the first 35 or so years of his life and then became a salesperson and became the top salesperson in the world for 4 different companies. That's it. That's my back. I'm not a marketing guru or anything like that. So for me, most people are taught to throw a lot of mud on the wall and hopefully something's going to stick. Now, that's a gross oversimplification for marketing, and I'm not trying to offend you if you're a marketing expert. But what I'm really doing here is I'm turning this model on its head 180 degrees. I'm not necessarily throwing mud on the wall. I mean, you could say that me posting something in my status update is throwing mud on the wall. Okay, I'll agree with you on that. But then what I'm doing is I'm looking to see who's engaging with the mud being the content that I post. So I can see that Larry, for whatever reason, liked this picture enough to click the like button. Brian liked it enough to click the like button. Lourdes liked it enough. So I can see who is engaging with my content. Well, all I do is I just say to myself, does this guy look like a good prospect for me? Does this guy look like a good prospect for me? Does this person look like it? So I don't really, I kind of know who Larry is. I have no idea who this Brian guy is. But I can see here he's the sales director. Well, sales directors hire me to train all the time. I train sales forces, I train individuals, I coach people. So this, just right out of the gate, I can see this might be a good prospect for me. So watch what I would do. I'd click on his name, open up his profile, and I take a quick minute and I look at it. Sales director at a printing company. I can click on here, I can go to their website, learn more about their business. So all I'm doing here is just market research. I'm doing due diligence. I'm saying to myself, is this the kind of guy who typically hires me to train salespeople? And if I look at his LinkedIn profile and I look at his social footprint, meaning links to his website, links to Twitter, links to Facebook, I could probably in 60 seconds or less probably get a real good read on whether or not this guy might be a good prospect for me. If he is, watch what I do next. Let's go back. Do you see the message button? I could hit the message button here, and now I could type a message. We'll call it pay it forward or paying it forward. In our previous call, the one that you listened to and was compelling enough to you to invest in some of my products, and thank you again, my wife and kids, and I thank you for that. I don't remember exactly what I said in that because I never give the same presentation twice, but I probably either mentioned or alluded to my pay it forward business model. My pay it forward business model is extremely simple, and it's really nothing more than just always offering to pay it forward sincerely. I'm not becoming a doormat. I'm not giving away the store. I'm not dropping everything else that's going on in my life so that I can make you a millionaire. But I am opening conversations and relationships differently than most people do. Most people open conversations and relationships with a what's in it for me attitude. And if you're subscribed to my newsletter, which you are because when you invested in my product, that subscribed you to my newsletter, I don't know if you read the newsletter that I put out yesterday, but I put out a newsletter every single Tuesday. So yesterday's newsletter, I talked about what's in it for me, WIIFM. Well, most people in business, they're really just thinking about themselves most of the time. And I'm not trying to be, holier than thou or Mother Teresa or Gandhi here. All I'm trying to say is when we take an approach of how can I add value to you, ultimately that tends to work out better from a business perspective than when you open a conversation with some thinly veiled or not so thinly veiled sales pitch. So what I would do is I would send this guy a message like this. Hey, Brian, I noticed that you clicked the like button on my picture. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate that. Just so you know, I operate from a pay-it-forward business model, and I'm all about paying it forward, and I'd love to prove it to you. If I could ever direct any business your way, I'd be happy to do so. How would I know if somebody I'm speaking with might be a good prospect or referral for you? If I could ever direct any eyeballs or business your way, I'd be happy to do so. Hope you're having a great August. Rock on, Kev, or whatever I say. And I would have that in a template that I could just copy and paste every single day. I might have to change a word here or there, but the basic template would work just fine. So if I were to send that to him, I know that you're all on mute, but take this as a rhetorical question. If I were to send that to him, do you think that he would respond to that? Let me ask you a question. If your name, let's pretend you're on this call right now and your name is Bob, and if I were to, and you clicked like on something that I posted, and I sent you a message and said, hey Bob, thanks a lot for clicking the like button on my picture this morning. I appreciate it. Hey, just so you know, I operate from a pay-it-forward business model, and if I could ever direct any eyeballs or business your way, I'd be happy to do so. How would I know if somebody I'm speaking with might be a good prospect or referral for you? Because if I could ever direct any business your way, I would love to do that. Anyway, hope you're having a great August. Don't forget to throw another shrimp on the Barbie, have an extra beer on the weekend, rock on Kev, or whatever I say like that. Would you respond to that? Heck yeah, you would. If you're a fully functioning, rational human being, you sure would. Because if somebody's saying that they would be willing to the possibility of directing business your way, no offense, but unless you're an idiot, you're going to respond to that. Because you probably don't get a lot of messages like that every day. I'm sorry, did I say every day? I meant since the day you were born. Because most people don't operate from a pay-it-forward business model. I do. My clients do. The people that I coach, the people that I teach this to, they tend to adopt this perspective, this philosophy. Number one, because it's a real nice way to live. And number two, it leads to a tremendous amount of money, okay? So all I'm doing is I'm engaging, which I keep using that word over and over here today. I'm finding the people that like the stuff that I'm posting. Let me get out of here. I'm finding the people that are liking the stuff that I'm posting, and all I'm doing is I'm just engaging with them. That's all I'm doing. It's the most natural thing to do. There's nothing slick or salesy about it. You're thanking them for taking the time to click the like button. This is about as far from insincere as you could possibly be, because they're literally telling you, I like your stuff. I like it so much, I clicked the like button on your stuff, right? So here, when I go back over the last 24 hours, here's 6 people that liked some other picture. Well, what picture is this? So, yesterday I got requested to speak in Atlanta. So, I typically get about 1 request a day to speak somewhere in the world, which is a blessing. I take none of it for granted, but I use that as an opportunity to post it onto LinkedIn. Well, 6 people clicked the like button on this, and I can see who these people are, and I could say, are any of these people good prospects or clients or referral sources? This one did it 8 minutes ago. 8 minutes ago, somebody liked something else I posted. So let's go over here. Here's something I posted 9 days ago. See that 9D right next to here? So I've created this picture. I chose the road less traveled. Crap, now I'm lost and there's no one to ask for direction. So it's kind of funny, right? 21 people have clicked the like button on this. So here, I just go down the list. Who are these 21 people? Do any of these people look like good prospects for me? If they do, then I just click on their name, I open their profile, I look at who they are, and then I can just hit the message button and I can communicate with them. So again, I'm going to recap this, and then I want to show you a different tool which you've probably never seen before. What I do every day, here's a financial advisor in San Francisco who I taught this to, who is doing it right now, this second, as we speak. Michael Gray is a financial advisor in San Francisco. He's just outside of San Francisco. I taught him this recently, okay? He took my advice. He didn't just nod politely and go, that's a good idea, but never do it. He did it. He created this picture, and I'm going to show you exactly how he created this in 30 seconds. And he put his website here. I would put my www down here. He'll probably figure that out here shortly. So here's a live example of a human being that I've taught doing exactly what I'm telling you right now in real time. He just did this, okay? So what I do every morning is I go on LinkedIn, and I create some form of a status update, upload a photo. Then I look back over the preceding 24 hours to see who is engaging with my content. If they're giving me a compliment, I publicly thank them, and then I look through to see who all those people are, and all I do is I just say, which of these people are people that maybe are a good prospect. Here's one I created 2 days ago. Today would be a great day to make it a great day. 17 people click the like button. Who are these 17 people? And then I just find the ones that I think might be a good prospect, click on the name, open up the profile, learn a little bit about them, see if it's a good prospect, send them a message, hey, thanks a lot for clicking the like button, blah, 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 blah. So you got the idea. In the remaining 15 minutes, I want to show you a tool that I've been using for about 1.5 years. This tool has put a tremendous amount of revenue into my business and into my clients' businesses. So I'm going to show you a website that most people are unaware of, but it's a very cool website. It's called shareisimage.com. My friend, he's a friend of mine now, wasn't a friend of mine when I first found the site, my friend Adam in Toronto, Canada, runs this website. This is a website, and I'm going to do it in a couple seconds. I'll show it to you in real time. This is a website where you can create pictures like the one that I just showed you that I created. So this picture here, give me a second, let me find it. So this thing here, this picture that I created it on that website called ShareIsImage. It's a free website, but if you use the free version, it's going to have the ShareIsImage logo in the corner. Well, I don't want the ShareIsImage logo in the corner. I want my logo in the corner, right? I want this logo in the corner. So if you upgrade to the premium version of ShareIsImage, it will cost you a whopping $8 per month. That's it. $8 a month. It is nothing, okay? Within 60 days of starting to use this tool, I put over $30,000 into my pocket. I don't know that I'm going to have enough time to unpack all that for you in the next 12 minutes, but if you want to ask me about that later, ask me about it later. Here's what I do every morning. I go to shareisimage.com. I click Launch App. This opens up the app, and now I'm going to create a picture. It literally takes me 60 seconds to do this every morning. It is so simple. Now, you might not be a writer like I am. You might not come up with these pithy, funny little witty things. Who cares? I showed you earlier, go to Google, find some motivational quotes, because you're going to see in a couple seconds how we'll take a motivational quote and we're just going to put your logo on it without any copyright violation or anything like that. So if I'm looking for motivational quotes, I'm not sure what's going on with the Wi-Fi here, but hopefully my Wi-Fi is still working. So while that's working, what I do is I'm going to write in here, David Fine and ValuSource rock, okay? Because they do. Then I say to myself, what font do I want? So I can just change the font. There's tons and tons of fonts in here. So I'm going to change the font. Give it a second. The font's going to change. There it goes. Do I want it bigger? Do I want it smaller? Do I want to put a black outline around the David Fine and ValuSource rock? There we go. Let's just go David Source and ValuSource rock. I can pick it up. It's got a centering button thing there, so I can go up to down. So I can center it perfectly. Then here where it says background, there are hundreds and hundreds of backgrounds that I could put behind this from designs to actual pictures. Now, I know where Adam gets these pictures for his website. There's another website out here called Unsplash.com. Unsplash.com has thousands of copyright and royalty-free pictures, which you can use for any purpose whatsoever. They upload 10 new pictures a week. They've been doing it for years. There are thousands of pictures in here. So let's just say, for the sake of time, I'm just going to click on one of these pictures. I got this thing here that has nothing to do with ValuSource, so let's see if I can find something that's just, I'll just do a little mountain background. I hit right-click, save image, and we'll just call this Jagged Mountains. We'll save that to my desktop. The reason I'm doing this is because if I do it on the Share as Image site, sometimes these are so small I can't really see what the picture looks like. So I do one extra step. I actually go to Unsplash so I can see the big picture, so I can see exactly what it is I'm doing. Now I hit Upload Image. I go back to my desktop. We called that Jagged Mountains. There it is. I hit Open. It's going to put the picture right behind David Fine and ValuSource. Give it a second. There it is. And I ask myself, does that look good? If it does, great. If not, I find another picture. I move this up a little bit. Where do I want these words to go? Right about here. Then, over here, it says Logo. So if you have your own logo, and if you don't, I could direct you to a graphic designer that could probably create one for you in 30 minutes. I just go and I get my logo. I upload my logo from my computer. I have two of them, one with the Kevin Knebl in white, one with the Kevin Knebl in blue. And I just put the logo anywhere I want to put it. So I usually put it in the lower right-hand corner, right there. And now I've got my picture, David Fine and ValuSource Rock. I hit Save and Share. Give it a second. It's converting it. Give it a second or two. And then I want to download a high-def version. We're going to call this David Fine. We're going to move it to my desktop. Save it. It's now sitting on my desktop, and this is what it looks like. David Fine and ValuSource Rock with my logo. So if we go back to LinkedIn, let's pretend that it's early morning and I'm doing exactly what I'm telling you you should do, exactly what I do. Everything I teach, I do. I am not a hypocrite who teaches you, you should do this, but I'm not going to do it, okay? So I go, let's pretend it's first thing in the morning. I go to upload a photo. I'm going to go to my David Fine photo, hit open. It's going to build it right here. And then if I write here, give it a second for it to show up. There it is. And if I write here, David Fine is not only incredibly handsome, he's also incredibly intelligent. And I'm just having fun, folks. David and I are good friends, so I can say these kind of things on a webinar. So blah, 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 whatever I want to say, and I hit share, that's going to go out to all of my LinkedIn connections, and everybody would see that, okay? But the thing I really want you to get from this is my logo's on every one of these. Well, you never know where that's going to end up. As I already showed you, people are going to hit the like button. People are going to hit the share button. People are going to hit the comment button. So if you're keeping your logo on the picture, by the way, if you're not coming up with the clever stuff that I'm coming up with, let's just go back here. See here where it says stop wishing, start doing? Well, that could be a motivational quote. So let's find something that doesn't have a .com or attribution. The greatest pleasure in life is doing what people say you cannot do. So if I took this one and I called this the greatest, and I saved it to my desktop, and I go back to share as image, and let's say let's go back a step. Let's get rid of this. Let's start over. Let's log in. But Kevin, I don't come up with all the clever stuff you do. You don't have to. If I just take something from Google, a motivational quote, and I put no words in it, and I just upload the image. The greatest, what was it called? The greatest, blah, 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 blah. Where is it? The greatest. There it is. Open it up. Give it a second to build. Take my logo. I would probably use my blue logo on this one. So if I go to logo, upload logo, go to my desktop, Go to Knebl Communications, go to my logo file, get my blue logo, open, give it a second to convert. There it is. What did it take me? 30 seconds. So I'm using a combination of Google to find the actual quote. And then I'm just using the quote, the picture, as the thing that I upload into Share as Image as the background. I don't even have to write any words. The words are already there. All I need to do is just put my logo on it. Once I put my logo on it and I save it, I'm good to go. So hopefully this is making sense. I have one eye on the clock. I've got 5 minutes left. My goal here this morning, and if you have questions, start typing them in the chat box, okay? Because I don't see any questions in there right now, so I'm assuming there's no questions. As a recap of what I'm teaching you here today, I started by telling you that we want to keep your name, your company name, top of mind with all of your LinkedIn connections, for the simple reason that if you're out of sight, you're out of mind, so we want to keep you in sight and in mind. I told you to use an 80-20 rule. 80% of everything you post should either be educational or inspirational. 20% should be a direct, blatant mention about what you do or your product or service. So in the 80% of the time, maybe 2 days a week post something related to your industry, maybe a link to an article, maybe 2 days of the week post a picture the way I'm showing you right now with your logo on it. So at least people will always be directed back to you wherever that content goes. And then 20% of the time, feel free to do a direct, blatant sales pitch about yourself or your product or your service. Then I showed you how to go to LinkedIn and how to post the actual content, and then how to look through your notification folder to see who is engaging being defined as them clicking the like, comment, or share button, and then where appropriate, when somebody looks like a good prospect, a referral source, or a client, engage with that person by telling them that you're all about paying it forward and maybe you can refer business to their way. The goal there is just to open a conversation. Of course, you have to be sincere about this, but to open a conversation, and then I took you over to Share as Image as a tool that's only $8 a month, where you can create unlimited pictures. You can upload backgrounds, you can do filters, you can do text, you can upload your logo and all this other stuff, so you can create content that you can post, and you never know where that's going to go. Now, I also mentioned in this call, and I'm going to say one more thing here, and then I'm going to shut up and bring David back on. I did mention to you my pay-it-forward business model. I'm going to tell you something, but I can't say this on a webinar or from a stage in front of 1,000 people because it would be pandemonium. So I'll say it to you because there's 25 of you on the call right now out of a number of people that were going to be here but obviously couldn't make it for time constraints. That's why we're recording this. I decided years ago that on any day that I'm not running to an airplane, I would build an hour or so into my calendar just to pay it forward and to help people in whatever way I can. Sometimes that means help with LinkedIn or social selling or Facebook or Twitter, or just coaching or executive coaching, or helping people get more clarity around various things, because that's really, I tend to do a lot of work from an executive coaching perspective with business owners and with people, helping them in lots of different ways with their businesses and also with their personal lives. So I don't have an agenda. If I can help somebody in some way, I'm happy to help them with whatever they think I could help them with. So I'm a big believer that if you've been blessed, you should bless other people. Now, I'm not preaching, and I'm not saying that I'm running around lighting cigars with $100 bills, but I certainly have been very, very blessed over the years. And I don't mind building an hour or so into my calendar on days that I'm not running to an airplane. So what I'm saying to you is, because of your relationship with David Fine and with ValuSource, by extension, you have a relationship with me, and you've invested in my product, so you literally do have a relationship with me. If you're listening to me right now, and you're thinking, boy, I would love to get an hour with Kevin, feel free to shoot me an email and say, Kevin, would it be possible to get a complimentary coaching session with you? And what I'll do is I'll have my assistant, Gina, my executive assistant extraordinaire, Gina, email you some possible dates and times that I might have open. We just line up the calendars, and then she emails you a go-to meeting link so you can see my computer screen while we have a conversation. If that's ever of interest to you, I'm offering that to you as a gift from me to you, because I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I kind of operate from a pay-it-forward business model. And this is not just slick marketing speak. This is how I live. So if I can ever help you, I would love to help you. I'm as close as the phone or email. I appreciate your interest. I appreciate, my wife and kids and I appreciate you investing some of your money in my products. Again, I'll end by saying, if I can ever help you in any way, I'm as close as the phone or email, and I'm extending my hand in friendship as a gentleman and saying, if I can help you, I will. And I hope you've gotten some nuggets from this today. I hope you got some takeaways that could help you in some way. If you'd like to go deeper, please feel free to call me or email me. And I think David's probably back on the line. So David, are you here?
Yeah, I am, Kevin.
Great.
Are you done?
Any questions or anything come in on your end?
Yeah, we do have a couple of questions here. I think when you were typing in those hyperlinks for people's names in the comments, someone was trying to do it on their page. Could you go back there and show how you get their hyperlink to show up? I think you were replying to a comment that they left on a comment they left.
Oh, yeah. I can do that. Sure, we'll do that right now. Let's do it. So here, when I go to here, this is the one I showed a few moments ago. So here's Larry. So I came up with this thing this morning and I posted it. So here, you can see that I've already responded to Kim and to Helen, but I have not thanked Farhana. So watch what I'm going to do here. I'm going to actually take the same exact thing that I said to Kim. The only reason we have anything is to share it. Otherwise, okay, so here I'm going to say, thanks. Now watch what happens when I start typing Farhana's name. Farhanna. So here, it's pulling up all the Farhanas, but I'm looking for Farhana VYA. So I continue to write the name in, Farhana VYA. And there she is. See, Farhana VYA, Virtual Admin Tech Support Geek. Farhana VYA, Virtual Admin. So it found her. I click on that, and now she's embedded in there. And now I'm just going to paste the rest of that. The only reason we have anything is to share it. So hopefully you can understand how I did that. And then I hit comment. That gets posted. She just had a notification show up in her notification folder 2 seconds ago that said Kevin Knebl commented. I'll do the same thing with Larry real quick. Yep. Thanks, Larry J. Clark. Just fine. So you can see the picture there. It's the same guy. There's Larry J. Clark. There's Larry J. Clark. I put an exclamation point. I put my little smiley face in. That's kind of a branding thing for me. And now he's been notified. Does that answer the question, David?
Yeah, that's great. The next question is, how do you write a message that only that person views versus a comment that everyone sees?
Oh, easy. So here, if I can see that this is Larry, right? There's send a message. This would only go to him.
Okay, and then someone just said, oh, go ahead.
No, I think if that's what you're asking me, all I do is I just put my cursor over the person's name. I hit send a message, and this is just going to send a private message from me to Larry. If that's what you're asking me.
I think that was the question. And then someone just commented in general, it's exactly what I want to do with several photos along with my products and services plus sharing on Twitter. Sort of just a comment, thank you. So if anybody else has any last questions, please type them into the box. Otherwise, we will wrap this up. And Kevin, every time I'm with you, every time I listen to a webinar that you're doing, you put a smile on my face. Yeah. So,
well, thank you, David. I appreciate it.
Yeah, really.
You always put a smile. You put a smile on my face too, so I appreciate that.
Yeah. So for everybody on this call, thank you very much. Once again, I encourage you. I think this is sort of just like exercise. Thinking about it does very little. If you actually do it, it does a lot. So I would encourage you very strongly to find some way to commit a little bit of time every day to making this work. I'm doing that myself, and I think it's great stuff. So Kevin, thank you very much, and thank you for that kind offer to our folks for reaching out to you for a free hour. And that's it, folks.